I call the October 10th, 2023 special meeting and possible executive session to order. City Clerk Ben Lane, please conduct the roll call.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor David Ortega.
Present.
Vice Mayor Solange Whitehead.
Present.
Council members Tammy Caputi,
Here.
Tom Durham,
Here.
Barry Graham,
Here.
Betty Janik, and Kathy Littlefield.
Here.
City Manager Jim Thompson,
Here.
City Attorney Sherry Scott,
Here.
City Treasurer Sonia Andrews,
Here.
and the clerk is present. Thank you, Mayor.
Excellent. There are two matters of business for the possible executive session. Item number one is if the executive session is approved, we would ask for a motion to, number one, discuss and consult with the city attorneys for purposes of obtaining legal advice, discussion, and consultation with the city's attorneys and representatives in order to consider the city's position and provide instructions to attorneys and representatives regarding the application of the Americans with Disabilities Act laws, specifically as applied to the request for accommodation by persons with mobility disabilities seeking to use power-driven personal mobility devices to traverse a city facility or participate in a city pedestrian program, the city's parks and public spaces. That's the first item. The second item is to discuss and consider employment, assignment, promotion, demotion, dismissal, salary, and other contract terms, disciplining or resignation of a city manager, employment matters relating to the city manager's office, and discussion or consultation with the city's attorneys for legal advice and necessary city staff regarding the same. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. No further discussion that I see. Please record your vote.
Councilmember Durham votes aye.
Thank you. That is unanimous. We are now recessed into executive session. Yes. We will resume our special meeting of October 10th, 2023. We did complete our executive session on the two items as listed. At this point, I would entertain a motion.
Mayor, I have a motion. I move to appoint Jim Thompson as city manager effective October 14th, 2023, at a base salary of $375,000 annually, with any additional contract terms to be considered by the city council at a later date.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I will now call to the public if there's anyone who would like to step forward, or you're welcome to sign up with the clerk. I'm told by the clerk there is no comment on the item, which is item number 2, city manager appointment and employment contract. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, please record your vote. Also, for the record, Council. Yes, go ahead, Councilman Durham.
Mayor, I vote yes.
Thank you. With that, it's unanimous, and city manager is so named, and effective October 14th, and we will move forward with the next item in our special session, which is boards and commissions and task force interviews. At this point, I will turn the meeting over to the Vice Mayor, Councilman Whitehead, Vice Mayor Whitehead, excuse me, who will be chairing this portion of the meeting.
Thanks, Mayor. Okay, the Scottsdale City Council is responsible for establishing city policies and enacting laws in support of those policies. The council relies on volunteer, citizen-based boards and commissions to research issues and make recommendations in support of the council's mission and goals. The information and recommendations provided by council-appointed advisory boards is a valuable tool in helping council members in their deliberations. This afternoon, the City Council will be appointing Scottsdale residents interested in serving on various boards and commissions. I want to thank the individuals for their willingness to volunteer their time and service to this community. Following the set of interviews, we'll vote on an appointment for the board and commission. As I call your name, please approach the podium and briefly cover the following. For the record, please state your name and address and how long you have lived in Scottsdale. Please tell us how your education, employment, or volunteer experience relates to this board or commission, and what is the top priority facing this board and commission. Please limit your comments to 2 minutes or less. We have a timer by the screen to help you manage your time. Following each nominee's response, I will ask council members if they have any follow-up questions for you. And we're going to start with the Airport Advisory Commission. The Airport Advisory Commission advises the City Council on policy matters relating to the operation of the airport, proposals for development, airport area land uses, fees, and safety concerns. There are 2 vacancies and 6 nominees. Sabrina Haverty has withdrawn her application from consideration. The nominees are Fred Atarian. Mr. Atarian is unable to join us this afternoon. However, he is still interested in serving on this commission. April Boboff, Christian Lambert, Peter Meyer, and Mr. Meyer's term has expired this month, and he's eligible for reappointment. Dominic Sarnantero, Ken Weingarten, and so we'll start with Mr. Atarian. Oh, he's not here, as I said. Okay, let's start with April Boboff. Oh, the podium's right here, sorry. That's hard to be first.
Good afternoon, or good evening. My name is April Bobuff. I reside at 10715 East Palm Ridge Drive in McDowell Mountain Ranch in Scottsdale. I have lived in Scottsdale for just on 2 years. I have one child who is a proud student of the Scottsdale Unified School District Public Schools. I'm currently employed by Amazon Web Services as a senior manager for ISV Partner Co-Sell and Alliance programs. I'm also the co-president of my son's local elementary school parent-teacher organization. Prior to joining Amazon, I spent 20 years with Microsoft Corporation in partner business development, as well as managing global sales negotiations and contracts. I have extensive experience in building relationships and partnerships that are focused on delivering results. My expertise lies in building new programs that add value to the business or taking existing programs and raising the bar to make them better. I believe the top opportunity currently facing the Scottsdale Airport and the Commission is how to build a better connection into the fabric of our city while further growing its economic impact. There should be a clear plan of development for the airport in the coming years, one that ensures both economic growth through new uses and or expansion of current customer base, or developing new customer uses for the airport, in addition to building a better connection into the airport and the citizens of our city. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Boboff? Okay, let's have Christian Lambert next.
Hi, I'm Christian Lambert. I've lived in Scottsdale for 3 years, but originally I'm from Australia, and I live at 15125 North Scottsdale Road, apartment 826. In regards to how my education and background can be suitable, well, first of all, I'm a private pilot. I moved to Scottsdale to get my pilot's license, and I'm currently undergoing IFR training. Outside of that, I currently work at the Boston Consulting Group outside of Washington, D.C., and I'm still based out of there, but I'm actually moving here, so I'll be changing employment next month. My previous career has focused on dealing with complex problems and solving them. Before BCG, I worked at Silicon Valley Bank, probably not the best thing to mention right now, but in their corporate strategy arm. And before that, I was at LinkedIn in sales strategy and operations, and I started my career in Washington, D.C. at Strategy and. Over my career, I focused on 3 main areas. One was dealing with incredibly difficult problems for clients in the private equity space, infrastructure, and also M&A. The main problem or main issues I see facing the Airport Commission would be threefold. One, we have incredible commercial development interests, both in and outside of the Scottsdale Airport. 2 is maintaining the airspace that we have. And lastly, also maintaining the operational capabilities of our airport, both internally and externally. And I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, Mr. Meyer?
Good afternoon. My name is Pete Meyer. I reside at 23383 North 75th Street here in Scottsdale in the Silverstone area. Prior to that, I was a resident of McDowell Mountain Ranch. I've lived in Scottsdale nearly 20 years. Came out here as a relocation person from the Midwest, where I've lived in 9 cities throughout the Midwest. Since retiring, one of the things that I have tried to do is become a better citizen of Scottsdale. That includes my volunteer work existing on the commission, where I've served as the vice chairman the past couple years. I also am involved with SCORE, Service Corps Retired Executives, as well as a volunteer for the Schwab Cup. I think when you put my education, both a master's and a bachelor's in business administration, and my 40 years in the print industry in sales, sales leadership, marketing, and venture management, I've seen things from a number of sides. And what it's done is it's allowed me to look at the Scottsdale Airport Commission as a balancing act. That balancing act is a combination of the needs of the greater community, the needs of the airport, coupled with sensitivity to the neighbors that are around the Scottsdale Airport and understanding their needs and requests as well. I hope I've been able to answer your questions.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions from my colleagues? No? Okay, well, thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Meyer. Okay, Ms. Dominic Sarntero? Is Dominic here? One more time, Dominic. Is Dominic here? Okay. And Mr. Weingarten is not here. Okay, so what we're going to do is go ahead and take a vote. So I'll entertain a vote for the Airport Advisory Commission, and each council member can vote for two, and I'm going to start with Councilwoman Caputi.
April Boboff and Peter Meir.
Councilwoman Janik.
April Boboff and Peter Meyer.
Councilwoman Littlefield.
Christian Lambert, Peter Meyer.
Mayor Ortega.
Peter Meyer and Dominic Sarnataro.
Peter Meyer and April Boboff. Councilman Tom Durham.
Peter Meyer and Christian Lambert.
And Councilman Graham.
Mr. Meyer and Mr. Weingarten.
Okay, let's do the tally with our staff. Rommel?
Okay, Mr. Meyer has been reappointed. And we'll re-vote for the second position amongst the two second highest vote getters. Just give me a moment.
Okay. And this is always our challenge. We have such great candidates, so it's tough to pick between them. All right.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and do a second vote, and we'll start with Councilwoman Janik.
Thank you. April Boboff and,
Oh, just one.
Just one.
sorry, yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Councilwoman Littlefield,
Christian Lambert.
Mayor Ortega,
April Boboff.
April Boboff, Councilman Durham,
Christian Lambert.
okay, and Councilman Graham.
Mr. Lambert.
April Boboff.
Oh, and Councilwoman Caputi. Thank you for jumping in.
All right, Ms. Boboff has been appointed.
Okay, congratulations and thanks to everybody. Okay, so let's move on to the Lost Trust Fund Board. The Lost Trust Fund Board is responsible for recommendations to the City Council regarding the administration of the Lost Trust Fund. There is one vacancy and one nominee, and that nominee is Brian Pitluck. So is Mr. Pitluck here? Come on up and give us your spiel.
Hello, my name is Brian Pitluck. I have lived contiguously in Scottsdale for the last 3.5 years, but I also lived here from 1999 to 2001. I live at 11049 North 140th Way, Scottsdale 85259. I lived here in 1999 after I graduated from the University of Arizona with a bachelor's degree in finance and management information systems. I currently work at a large investment manager called PIMCO, where I'm in the role of fund operations manager. And what we deal with is ensuring that operational losses are minimized, operational losses don't occur, and contractual negotiations to try to limit the costs on our services that we participate in. What I think I can contribute to the Lost Trust Fund board role is an eye to one of the biggest challenges, which is keeping costs for the city at or near inflation when we're in some serious inflationary times. I enjoy that. I enjoy looking at contracts. I enjoy indexing costs, and think I have some good ideas to bring to the Lost Trust Fund Board to help the Fund Board mitigate costs for the city. Are there any other questions that I can answer for you?
Any other questions? Okay, we're going to go
Thank you.
ahead and vote on the Lost Trust Fund Board, and we'll start with Councilwoman Littlefield.
Thank you. Brian Pitluck.
Mayor Ortega,
Brian Pitlup.
Brian Pitluck, Councilman Durham,
Brian Pitluck.
Councilman Graham,
Mr. Pitlock?
Councilwoman Caputi,
Brian Pitluck.
Councilwoman Janik,
Brian Pitluck.
and congratulations, Mr. Pitluck. And I'm going to go ahead and encourage people in the back to take your conversations elsewhere when we have speakers at the podium. Woohoo, everybody wants to be quiet. Okay, Neighborhood Advisory Commission is next. The Neighborhood Advisory Commission advises and makes recommendations to the City Council on policies, plans, strategies, and programs for the preservation, improvement, and revitalization of Scottsdale's housing and neighborhoods. There are 2 vacancies and 3 nominees. Lee Cooley, Sherry Lopez, Christine Rodriguez, and Michelle Rusinko have withdrawn their applications from consideration. So the nominees are Bob Doms, Craig Hanslick, and George Spatola, and I'm going to start with Bob Doms. Oh, let's see, sorry, I have to read my notes. He is unable to attend the meeting today, but he is still interested in serving. Okay, let's move on to, I thought that had changed. Let's move on to Craig Hanslick.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, esteemed council members. My name is Craig Hanslick. My beautiful wife, Kimberly Hanslick, is here. She's 9.5 months pregnant, so I may have to run out of here at any moment. But thank you for having me. I live at 8701 East Arlington Road here in Scottsdale. My day job is as a small business owner, specializing in public relations and strategic communications with clients like the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. I have contracts with federal government agencies like the U.S. Agency for International Development, where I advise the U.S. military on issues related to humanitarian assistance and international disaster response worldwide. In the recent past, I've held leadership positions at the U.S. Department of the Interior, where I work closely on issues related to the preservation and development of federal lands, national parks, education, and Indian affairs. I was also commissioned as an officer of the President at the White House during a previous administration. In addition to my federal service, I have been an active real estate investor in Scottsdale for 10 years, purchasing my first condo here in 2013. I also have many years of experience managing my own rental properties in Scottsdale, in Arlington, Virginia, and in Pagosa Springs, Colorado, which is just right up the road from here. I believe that the top issue facing the Neighborhood Advisory Commission today is a positive one. Our community continues growing and evolving. Scottsdale is a popular and attractive place to live, visit, and to retire. Protecting the interests of the families that live here while promoting growth and tourism is a challenge that I believe Scottsdale so far has handled pretty well. My wife and I have observed and contributed to Scottsdale's growth over the years. We're looking forward to raising our daughter here, being active in the school system here, and investing for our daughter's future here. Drawing from my personal and professional experiences in federal service and in Scottsdale, it'd be a privilege to serve the City's Scottsdale Council and the Neighborhood Advisory Commission. Thank you for your consideration, and I'll stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? I see none. Thank you. So Mr. Spatola will be participating this afternoon electronically, so let's get him up on the screen. Ben, can we? Okay.
Nobody.
Vice Mayor Whitehead, I believe they're trying to connect him. He'd be over the phone, it'd be telephonic.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. My name is George Spatola. I've been a resident for over 45 years, city of Scottsdale. I live at 4865 North Granite Reef, about a block and a half from where I grew up. I've raised all my children and participated in just about every program that the city has offered over the past, 45 years. I've operated small restaurants and other businesses in the city of Scottsdale and elsewhere. The last few years, I've been a consultant for business growth in various cities and states around the U.S., and most recently have become semi-retired and got into the design and construction business. I've sat on several HOA boards, and last year, in fact, or actually this year, I won the Landlord Partner of the Year award from the City of Scottsdale Housing Department, becoming a new landlord partner with them for rental properties for low-income housing. My biggest concern with the board is the ability for them to solicit more input from the community and also communicate out specifically what they're looking to achieve. What I bring to the board probably is my ability to question people, not in a derogatory way, but to really open up issues and make sure that all points are covered before decisions are made. I really look forward to serving.
Thank you so much, Mr. Spatola. Are there any questions, comments? I see none. And so with that, I will entertain a vote for the Neighborhood Advisory Commission. Each council member can vote for 2 nominees, and I'm going to start with Mayor Ortega.
Mr. Hanslick and Mr. Spatola.
Mr. Hanslick and Mr. Spatola. Councilman Durham.
Mr. Hanslick and Mr. Spatola.
Councilman Graham.
Mr. Hanslick and Mr. Spatola.
Councilwoman Caputi.
Bob Doms, George Spatola.
Councilwoman Janik.
Craig Hanslick and George Spatola.
Councilwoman Littlefield.
Bob Dams and George Spatola.
Thank you. Rommel?
Right, Craig Hanslick and George Spatola have been appointed.
Okay, congratulations. Next up is Paths and Trails Subcommittee. The Paths and Trails Subcommittee advises the Transportation Commission and provides a public forum for issues surrounding paths and trails. There is 1 citizen representative vacancy and 1 nominee. The nominee is Bradley Adam. So, Mr. Adam, come speak with us.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. My name is Dr. Bradley Adame. I live at 1841 North 66th Street in Highview, just outside of Old Town Scottsdale. I am a professor of strategic communication, social influence, and risk perception at Arizona State University. I'm also the associate director of the Hugh Downs School of Human Communication there at the university. Let's see. I think that my research area and my expertise in being a professor at ASU would lend some insight into being a member of this commission. Also, to say that I'm an avid user of the trails and parks in Scottsdale would be a complete understatement. My house actually backs up to the Crosscut Canal, and I'm on that canal trail at least once daily, if not more frequently than that. So I'm looking forward to this opportunity to serve. And I think probably the top issue facing this particular Border Commission is the continued expansion of the trail system throughout Scottsdale while maintaining a high degree of visibility and safety for the users and an increase in facilities to maintain the safe use of the trails.
Thank you, Mr. Adame. Any questions or comments? I see none. I'm going to start with myself, and I'm going to vote for Mr. Adame, and then we'll go to Councilman Durham.
Mr. Adame.
Councilman Graham.
Professor Adame.
Councilwoman Caputi.
Bradley Adame.
Councilwoman Janik.
Bradley Adame.
Councilwoman Littlefield.
Bradley Adame.
Mayor Ortega. Okay, congratulations, Mr. Adame. Next is the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission holds public meetings and makes recommendations to the City Council on all matters relating to the creation of zoning districts, the enforcement of zoning regulations, amendments to all zoning ordinances, and any other planning and zoning issue. There are 3 vacancies and 8 nominees. The nominees are Doug Craig, George Ertel. He has served a first term and is eligible for reappointment. John Griffin, Pam Iakova, Michael Ann Joyner, David Pierce, William Scarborough, who also has served a term and is looking for a second term. Joe Young, again, also his term expired this month and is eligible for reappointment. So let's start with Doug Craig.
Good afternoon, Mayor Ortega, Vice Mayor Whitehead. It's nice to see friends and familiar faces. My name's Doug Craig. I'm a resident of 7209 East McDonald Drive. I moved here initially in 1985. I'm here today with the desire to continue to serve our community. For over 6 years, I've served on both the Historic Preservation and the Development Review Board. In December, I will fulfill my 6 years of service on the DRB and wish to remain actively involved in our community. As a DRB member, I have enjoyed sitting alongside each of you, helping to determine cases which have and are shaping our city. With that said, I have the experience and understanding needed to make thoughtful and impactful Planning Commission decisions. As a practicing professional landscape architect with a background in sustainable design, I will bring a unique skill set and experience to the Planning Commission. I wish to continue to use my knowledge to help shape the city's growth. In addition to my expertise and community involvement, I bring a renewed perspective to Planning Commission. I'm a strong advocate for innovative and sustainable solutions as we face the challenges of population growth, traffic congestion, and environmental sustainability. I'm committed to finding creative solutions that promote responsible development, protect our natural resources, enhance our overall livability of our city. I'm dedicated to transparency and inclusivity. I believe that public input is essential in the decision-making process. I'll work diligently to ensure that the voices of residents are heard and considered. I'm also committed to promoting effective communication between the Planning Commission, city officials, and the community, ensuring decisions are made in full understanding, with full and understanding support. My strong connection to Scottsdale and my professional expertise make me a well-rounded candidate for Planning Commission. I'm excited about the opportunity to contribute my skills and passions to our city's future. Thank you again for your consideration. Boom.
Thank you, Mr. Craig. Any questions? I see none. So we're going to move on to Mr. Ertel.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members. George Ertel, 11725 North 129th Way, Scottsdale 85259. I arrived in Scottsdale in April of 1987, so I've been here about 36 years. After earning an MBA from Kellogg at Northwestern, I took assignments in strategic planning and development, eventually tightening my focus into commercial finance, underwriting, and management. In a nutshell, I analyze from all angles how organizations and investments work. I see their vulnerabilities and opportunities, and I put together ways to make them work, if they can work. I have a reputation for insight and independence. My last assignment at Finova, a commercial finance company that had been headquartered here in Scottsdale, came after it tanked. The new president came to me and said, well, Wall Street has lost confidence in what we say about the quality of our portfolio. We need someone to lead a review that can analyze investments and who is independent of institutional bias. And I say, am I independent? And the president said, George, there's nobody here who's more independent than you are. I would say my ability to analyze and my willingness to speak independently is something the council should value. And the insights I gained serving on the Transportation Commission and attending the Water Academy help me to appreciate how projects impact resources and infrastructure. Please also note that while all planning commissioners that I've experienced ask good questions, I would say that I am the commissioner who is the most outspoken in systematically describing the pluses and the minuses, at least as I see them. Again, I would think the council would want to know not just how I voted, but why I voted as I did. So what's the top issue? The top issue facing the Planning Commission is the same issue that the council and the country face. There was a time, I think, when people might say, I don't know how you made that decision. Now, too often people say, I know exactly how you made that decision. You're evil or you're getting payoffs. The top issue is a failure of community respect.
That's it?
Well, yes, I should add that I wasn't saying that you're evil and taking payoffs. I wasn't suggesting that at all. I'm
Thank
saying
you.
Too often people on Nextdoor do and elsewhere.
Thank you, George.
Any questions to dig myself out of that hole?
Yeah, no, I think you made yourself clear. Any questions or comments? No, I think, okay, thanks so much, Mr. Ertel. Appreciate that. Mr. Griffin.
John Griffin.
Thank you, Mayor Ortega and council members. My name is John Griffin. My address is 9240 North 105th Place, Scottsdale, Arizona. Came down to Arizona in '82, officially in '86, so I lived in Scottsdale plus or minus 12 years, the last 4 recently. I am a registered architect for the last, in the profession, 34 years, give or take. But what I bring to the council and to the community is I was on the Village Planning Committee for the City of Phoenix. It was for 7 years, 3 years as vice chair. Enjoyed the time. I look forward to doing it again for the City of Scottsdale. And what are the top issues for the board and commission? It's listening to the people, to the staff, and looking for growth. There's some hard choices. Sometimes they're not favorable, but we need to look towards the future, not for the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? I see none. Ms. Yakova. Ms. Yakova, I'm so sorry.
It's the same. I'm answer to anything. My name is Pamela Yakovo. I've been a Scottsdale resident for 20 plus years, and I live at 13524 East Gold Dust Avenue, 85259. Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the City Council, thank you for this opportunity to continue to serve the council and the residents, this time as a member of the Planning Commission. You have before you a puzzle piece, each piece reflecting the unique areas of Scottsdale, contributing to the city's character. I will repeat Vice Mayor Whitehead's comments about the goals of the Planning Commission are to review, evaluate, and approve rezoning requests, general plan amendments, use permits, abandonments, and municipal use master site plans while maintaining the applicable standards and policies of the City of Scottsdale. How do my experiences relate to the Planning Commission? As chair of the Transportation Commission, I was an integral member of the CRC that influenced the contents of the general plan, including adding the 4 key elements of arts, culture, and creative community, healthy community, tourism, and education. Thank you for accepting our work and to the voters who approved the general plan in November of 2021. As chair of the Transportation Commission, I was intimately involved with the passage of the Transportation Action Plan also. The TAP reflects the multimodal nature of what has become Scottsdale and includes provisions for equestrians. The TAP is focused on a 10-year refinement of the existing transportation system. It places emphasis on livable streets and connecting community and promotes sustainable infrastructure based on capacity and need. As a former chamber leader in Dayton, Ohio, I understand the responsibilities that accompany the financial windfall that tourism brings to the economy of Scottsdale. The estimated impact of the tourism is $1.5 billion in spending in 2019. That's no chump change. The Transportation Commission and the Planning Commission are closely related in that what is planned for must be accommodated. In years Previously, the order was planning first, then planning was second to streets. Developers were second. In today's world, it is developers who come and streets must react to the demands being placed on the transportation system. It will take an astute person with a background in transportation to consider land use, zoning, and whether the general plan should be amended. I am that person with the appropriate background in transportation through my career working for transportation engineers and contractors. How am I doing on time?
You're out.
You're out.
Oh, I'm finished? Oh, can I answer the second question about the top issue facing?
Sure, just do absolutely, go
Okay.
for it. And thank you for all your service.
The public in deciphering the feelings from the facts and transparently seeking full representation from the community, considering public comments and feedback, and incorporating that feedback when appropriate. As a member of the Transportation Commission, we received nearly 300 comments over my 6-year term. I am proud to note that the City Transportation Department and the Public Information Officer took every comment into consideration before proceeding. I thank you very much for letting me go long.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Yakova. Get it right. Okay, Ms. Joyner, you're up.
The room looks much different from here. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council, my name is Michael Joyner. I live at 11216 East Dale Lane, Scottsdale, and I have been a resident of Scottsdale for 23 years. I'm asking for your vote for the Planning Commission. I am in year 4 of serving on the Development Review Board, which I have loved and do love. My previous experience involves serving 8 years on the Chandler Planning and Zoning Commission, of which I was the chairman twice, so I served in that position for 4 years. During my term, Intel came to Chandler, and in Chandler, they do not have a member of City Council that serves on the commissions. So the pleasure of working with Intel and with the city planners to land Intel in Chandler I was part of that. So I was very proud of the work we did. It took us 2 years to get the city to come into harmony with the citizens, and I think we're very proud of that. I've also served for 2 years on the Board of Adjustments, and I think the challenges facing the planning department have not changed. It's always going to be balancing the needs of the city, the needs of the residents, and the needs of the developers. And one of the things that I learned while I was on planning and zoning is that we get these beautiful, shiny packages in front of us, and we tend to make our decisions based on those shiny packages. But as a member of the Zoning Commission, you have to look further and assume that maybe that developer may not develop that package and understand what the adverse or the benefits might be of that zoning change, and I think I'm very good at that. My name is Michael Joyner, and I'm asking for your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Joyner. Mr. Pierce?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, thank you very much for this time. David Pierce, 7601 East 2nd Street, Unit 22. I literally could just walk over here. I've been a resident of Scottsdale since 2003. I've raised raising three kids here in this lovely city. I've lived in the 85251, 50, or 57 my entire time here in Scottsdale. Regional development, minor in economics from the finest institution in the state of Arizona, University of Arizona. Was going to be an urban planner by trade, and then figured out that a lot of those economic development directors tend to be retired commercial real estate guys. So I'm a commercial real estate broker, currently active in Scottsdale and all over the state of Arizona. Our offices are actually out of Chandler. So, you know, I think my background primarily leads to planning, and we deal with planning and zoning all the time. I think the biggest biggest issue facing Scottsdale when it comes to planning is adhering to our general plan, not letting anybody wanting to come in and do development pull us away from that general plan, and then listening to the voices of our residents and trying to use that general plan as our guide to make sure that we're making our decisions appropriately. Thank you. Any questions?
I see none, but thank you, Mr. Pierce and Mr. Scarborough.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is William Scarborough. My address is 7433 East Bonita Drive. I have proudly called Scottsdale my home for about 12 years now. I currently serve on the Planning Commission and as Vice Chair of the Scottsdale Railroad Mechanical Society. I have previously served as the Vice Chair for the Development Review Board, committee member for the General Plan Citizen Review Committee, and was a volunteer for the Scottsdale Operation Fix-It. I have completed Scottsdale Leadership, Scottsdale Government 101, Scottsdale's Citizens Police, Fire, and Water Academies. Professionally, I have approximately 20 years of broad national real estate development experience working with numerous government agencies, processing general plan amendments, text amendments, rezones, conditional use permits, variances, and design review for various commercial ground-up and redevelopment projects. I believe my institutional knowledge and professional experience, as well as my community involvement and civic education, provide a solid foundation and natural fit for continued service on the Planning Commission. I believe a major issue facing the Planning Commission is maintaining Scottsdale's uniqueness and heritage, while accommodating its future and growth. I do not believe these are mutually exclusive and will continue to bring to the table my experience, knowledge, and willingness to hear all sides of the case to help find balance. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. All right, last but not least, Mr. Young.
Easy is the last of the Y name.
That's the problem with having a Y for your last name. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been last all my life, so I'm used to it. Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council, thank you for having me here today. My name is Joe Young. I live at 5925 East Lewis Avenue here in Scottsdale. I've been a resident of Scottsdale for 43 years, so I've got some pretty deep roots here. I've got a wife, 3 kids that were all born here in Scottsdale also. I served for 2 terms on the Development Review Board, 6 total, and I'm just concluding my first 3-year term on Planning Commission, which I served as Vice Chair for the last 2 years. I'll just read my statement on what I feel the top issue for Scottsdale is right now, what I put in my application. Height and density has been a top issue in the city due to soaring land costs and housing shortages. I've made it a top priority to work diligently with staff, the applicant, and residents to hear all voices to better the project for a favorable outcome. My approach would be to continue the efforts to ensure that these projects have positive qualities, comply with established ordinances, and blend well with the fabric of this wonderful place that we all call home. So I wanted to keep my comments brief today. I know we're running a little bit long. Thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
I see none, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so, you know, Scottsdale is so blessed with incredible people at every level, and so really, this is just another great example. I will now entertain a vote for this Planning Commission, and each council member can vote for 3 nominees. And I'm going to start with Councilman Durham. Maybe I'm going to start with Councilman Graham.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I will vote for Mr. Craig, Ms. Joyner, and Mr. Pierce.
Councilwoman Caputi.
George Ertel, Bill Scarborough, Joe Young.
Councilwoman Janik.
George Ertel, William Scarborough, and Joe Young.
Councilwoman Littlefield.
George Hertel, Michael Joyner, and David Pierce.
Mayor Ortega.
David Pierce, Pamela Iakoval, and Joe Young.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get our money's worth out of these 3 volunteer incumbents and vote George Ortel, William Scarborough, Joe Young, and now we're going to get that vote from Councilman Durham.
Sorry, I was on mute there. I'm voting for Mr. Ertel, Mr. Scarborough, and Mr. Young.
Thank you. How did we do, Rommel?
Okay, Mr. Ortel, Mr. Scarborough, and Mr. Young have been reappointed.
Congratulations and truly thank you to everybody. Okay, that's it. This concludes our appointment process for today. I would like to thank all of our nominees for their interest in serving on a city board or commission. We are fortunate to continue to receive qualified applicants for the positions on our boards and commissions. Even if you were not appointed today, your application will remain on file for consideration at a future date if there are additional vacancies. For the individuals appointed this evening that are in attendance in person, an orientation session will be held at the conclusion of the meeting. So please gather by the city clerk's office and a staff member will escort you to the orientation session. The city of Scottsdale is very fortunate to have such dedicated and talented individuals who are willing and ready to serve for our city. And with that, I'm turning it back to the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, we are concluded with the special meeting. I call for a motion to adjourn in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We are adjourned our special meeting. Next, we will go into our I call the October 10th, 2023 City Council regular meeting to order. City Clerk Ben Lane, please conduct the roll call.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor David Ortega.
Present.
Vice Mayor Solange Whitehead.
Here.
Council members Tammy Caputi.
Here.
Tom Durham.
Here.
Barry Graham.
Here.
Betty Janik.
Here.
And Kathy Littlefield.
Here.
City Manager Jim Thompson.
Here.
City Attorney Sherry Scott.
Here.
City Treasurer Sonia Andrews.
Here.
And the clerk is present. Thank you, Mayor.
Very good. For your information, we have Police Sergeants Brian Heiner and Bernice Ingram, as well as a firefighter on duty if anyone requires their assistance. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll call on Councilwoman Tammy Caputi. At this point, we have my mayor's report. It's been 20 months since the country of Ukraine has been fighting bravely, repelling the invaders. I ask that we please pause in reflection for the people of Ukraine as they fight for sovereignty, survival, and democracy. Thank you. Our thoughts tonight are with the people of Israel who've been targeted by cowardly acts of terrorism. Our thoughts are for the families, the fallen, and the unknown. Please join with me in silent reflection for the people of Israel. Thank you. So I have a proclamation. It's about a person here in Scottsdale who was one of the early founders, you'd say, of the city, a person that was involved with the STEP program when in the 60s decisions were made that shaped our city for decades to come. He was a city councilman. He was involved in the selection of this site for our city hall. And coincidentally, tomorrow, this building will be 55 years old, so we'll be celebrating that as well. Another location that had been considered at the time was the Loloma School and that property and the grounds over there. And with guidance and discussion among his peers, the decision was to bring the Civic Center here, as well as the library. So I'm going to read the proclamation, and I think you'll guess who it is about. Anyway. Whereas Paul Messenger came to Scottsdale to work on his family farm, which was located at Miller and Indian School Roads. He graduated from Scottsdale High and went on to marry Cora Ross, a classmate. And together they raised 2 sons in Scottsdale. Whereas Paul has resided in Scottsdale for over 8 decades, served as a city councilman and a distinguished 3-term state legislator, and remains a dedicated volunteer with many Scottsdale organizations. Whereas Paul opened Messenger Mortuary at the farm property in 1959, serving family needs with compassion. Paul also operated the first ambulance service in Scottsdale and selflessly served as lifetime member of the Scottsdale Charros and many other organizations such as the Elks Club, Lions Club, to name a few. Whereas Paul Messenger keeps the rich and unique history of Scottsdale alive with his captivating storytelling through newspaper publications, as well as his books that encompass the spirit of Scottsdale, enlightening residents and visitors. And whereas the city of Scottsdale thanks Paul Messenger for his dedication and contributions to the preservation of our history and the culture of the most western town. Paul was involved with 3 art projects. One was the yearling sculpture in our Civic Mall. The other was the Monument to the Fallen, which is a tribute to those who perished from our area, and also in the Museum of the West, which has big announcements to make. Therefore, I, David D. Ortega, the 12th mayor of Scottsdale, Arizona, do hereby proclaim Paul Messenger, I know he's listening out there, Scottsdale Historian Emeritus in appreciation, and ask that we join to celebrate Scottsdale through Paul's eyes. Let's give Paul Messenger a hand. Next, I will call on the city manager, Jim Thompson, to provide the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, those in attendance, those watching from home. We have a short video this evening. It's called Fast Five. We provide these for our updates. So here we go.
Hi, I'm Public Affairs Specialist Stephanie Hirata with 5 fast things happening around the city you need to know. Starting us off at number 5, Scottsdale is seeking board and commission members. Residents wanting to volunteer and institute a positive change in their community are invited to apply to serve. Applications will be accepted until October 31st for openings on various boards and commissions, including Board of Adjustment, Development Review Board, Transportation Commission, and Judicial Appointments Advisory Board. The Judicial Appointments Advisory Board recommends to the City Council the best qualified persons to become full-time city judges, to evaluate the performance of incumbent full-time city judges, and to advise the City Council about retaining them in office. 2 citizen member positions are currently available on this board and are open to Scottsdale residents who are not judges in any official capacity, retired judges, nor members of the State Bar of Arizona. To view a complete list of current and future openings or to apply, visit scottsdaleaz.gov and search boards and commissions. Coming in at number 4, Scottsdale's Transportation and Streets crews wrapped up work on the Shea Boulevard paving project 5 days ahead of schedule. Construction took place overnight to minimize impacts to the public and maintain business access during typical work hours. 1,200 tons of asphalt were delivered to the job site each night, where 25 to 50 people worked on the project area, which covered 3 miles of Shea Boulevard from Scottsdale Road to 96th Street. And to top that off, no community concerns were voiced during the paving project. Next up at number 3, calling all boys and ghouls, Halloween Spooktracula returns to McCormick-Stillman Railroad Park. Stop by for a spell between 6 to 9:30 p.m. through October 31st as we transform the park into a haunted hamlet. This family-friendly event is perfect for kids of all ages. We'll creep it real with the featured event, a spooky train ride created with younger children in mind. A bit spooky, but not too scary. The event will feature limited capacity in 90-minute time blocks at 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. nightly. Learn more and purchase tickets at therailroadpark.com. At number 2, historic Old Town streetlight replacement is underway through November. The city is replacing streetlights throughout the historic Old Town district, beginning on Scottsdale Road from 2nd Street to Indian School Road. This improvement project will be completed by mid-November in staggered phases to minimize impacts to merchants and visitors and require limited lane parking and sidewalk closures on a block-by-block basis. Visit the project website for details at scottsdaleaz.gov, search Transportation Network Improvements. Wrapping things up at number 1, fall in love with Scottsdale Civic Center. Old Town Scottsdale proudly introduces the newly renovated Civic Center. This popular 24-acre outdoor space has been enhanced with more accessible and beautified walkways and quiet spaces to relax. Enjoy new public art, landscaping, and directional graphics, including 2 fan-friendlier concert and entertainment spaces, the East and West Bowls. Civic Center remains a hotbed for Old Town festivals and cultural experiences and is kicking it up a notch this fall with an impressive lineup of concerts and events. If you haven't seen the renovated Civic Center yet, you now have a growing list of reasons to visit. We continually update our fall calendar, check back often, find something new to love. Come see what all the love is about. Visit oldtownscottsdaleaz.com. And that's it for Scottsdale's Fast 5 for October. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Next, we will have a presentation update on Scottsdale Arts. The presenter is the President and Chief Executive, Gerd Westerman. Happy to see you, Gerd.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Mayor Ortega, Vice Mayor Whitehead, council members. Thanks for allowing me to give my 6-month biennial update to you. I'm really excited about this, and apologies about the scruff appearance. I'm going on the annual shower ride tomorrow morning. There's a strict no-shave policy so that we city slickers can pretend that we look like real cowboys, I guess. Here's hoping. As I was putting this report together, I was reflecting not just on the past 6 months, but also my first 5 years in this position. We've really had a massive overhaul of this organization, and I think I can rightfully say that we're now just coming into our own. We built from a small core group our board to now be at the max of 32 members. Many of my board members are here with us tonight, and I want to thank them for their incredible service to this great organization. They are supported by almost 100 members in various advisory committees so that there's a real root system spanning the entire depth of our community advising us on the direction of Scottsdale Arts. And perhaps no better is that represented than in our new 50-page season guidebook that's in front of you on the dais. You may peruse at your leisure. I think you'll find it very informative about everything that Scottsdale Arts does today. This first phase of my being here probably was most poignantly punctuated by a significant gift. We received the largest gift in the history of the organization recently, $11.5 million out of the Ziegler estate, while we mourn the loss of Michael and Ellen, 2 fabulous community members and philanthropists. We are so deeply grateful for what this gift will allow us and the community of Scottsdale to create in the future. So Scottsdale Arts has grown tremendously in the last 5 years. We have gone from 3 to 6 major departments. Soon a 7th department will be added. At the center, we've seen a real revival. We present this season alone 257 diverse programs to our community. We just had a doubleheader weekend opening with an ABBA tribute band that was sold out, as well as the Queen of Country, Leanne Rimes, another sold-out show. But we certainly don't forget our core appearance in the arts. In other words, Jeffrey Siegel here to the left has been with us for 45 seasons now, almost as long as the center has existed, and is still going strong with his wonderful performances. We have a world-class classical series, and I'm proud to celebrate after the Scottsdale Philharmonic decided to move to Phoenix. I'll leave that one alone. A new orchestra in Scottsdale formed by Scottsdale musicians that wanted to play and be here in Scottsdale at the center. I want to recognize Charlie Bullen and Barbara Moss with us tonight for the extraordinary passion. Not only are they newfound board members, but they also are orchestra musicians. We're super excited about your inaugural season with us. Thank you for the trust in us. Smoker continues to go strong. It is a nationally accredited and award-winning museum. 12 plus exhibits in a year for a small museum, all created in-house. That is almost unheard of. We currently have 2 exhibits that we packaged here, touring on the East Coast in various museums there, something that we should be very proud of. Takes Scottsdale across the country. Also something we're proud of is for the 2nd year in a row, we recently won the Best Museum in the Valley Award. Usually that goes to the big 3 in Phoenix, and, you know, little Scottsdale pride on that one. And of course, we're terribly excited that on Valentine's Day 2024, we celebrate 25 years of the museum, a very momentous occasion indeed. Our Learning Innovation Department has also reached new heights. We doubled up in our partnerships with Scottsdale and Paradise Valley Unified School Districts, met by great superintendents in both districts supporting our effort in arts integration. And we hosted for the first time ever a Family Arts Fest at Sky Song, which even in its first year drew more than 4,000 kids and their parents to the initial appearance. It was just wonderful. In short, we produce hundreds of tours, have an extensive Visions High School program, work with 25,000 school kids every year that otherwise would not have any creative engagement, any art classes in our school systems. But learning innovation goes much beyond that for us. We, for instance, work with Detour Theater, a group for adults with disabilities that put 2 shows on our stage each season. Absolutely heartwarming and wonderful, one of the most important pieces of work we do all year. And of course, we continue to host the Ali Ortega Empty Bowls community fundraiser, which was a huge success with record numbers this year and is, of course, in honor of the memory of our mayor's daughter. Last but not least, learning means lifelong learning.